Hi guys, welcome to this video. I'm Prashant. I'm the founder of Wordpandit and the Learning Inc. Network, bringing to you a special video. This one is going to talk about interview experiences. In fact, we've got a full section of B-School interview experiences on gdpivat.com. I hope you're using this. And what we've done in this particular section is B-School wise, we've listed down different interview experiences. So these are all available for your consumption. Pick up your target B-School and whatever it is that you want to learn, you can learn about these B-Schools from the interview experiences for these B-Schools, right? Let's analyze one such interview experience, right? This is an IIM Ahmedabad interview experience, an analyst who's worked for 3 years in a government position in a statistics role, right? Electronics and communication engineer, government data analytics role. So that's what he's done. This person has got good academics, right? Good academic scores. This is online panel, male, female. Now, what are the questions asked, right? So we've divided these questions also according to the different categories. First is, why did you leave your job? What was your role? Now just see this, that all of a sudden, the first question you're asked is, why did you leave your job? It's a negative prompt, right? At times, this puts us off, right? So you've got to be prepared for such situations when they're going to directly ask you something which is very impactful. And there's no background story to this. They've not asked you, who are you? Where do you belong to? What is your background story? You tell us something that you want to tell us, that you are prepared with. No, they've asked you, why did you leave your job? What was your role? Directly to the point. In other words, mudde ki baat, directly coming to the point, right? And then, who was your boss? Now, in this case, he was working in a government organization, must be a major role. So the person is a public figure. अब जैसे ही आपका एक public figure के साथ connection हो जाता है, if that person is known in public, right? Now, for example, you might be working in a company such as Tata's, right? Or Reliance. Then you are expected to know about the family behind Reliance. Then you're expected to know about Ratan Tata and the Tatas in general, their family, their legacy. That background information is required. So make sure you prepare for these things as well. So this person was involved. He asked him about his boss, this person made sure he avoided political or any such commentary, stayed neutral, stayed in the middle, and just gave a matter of fact description, which is a good thing to do, right? Then he went over to, because it was dealing with data and statistics, obvious extension, laws pertaining to data collection, right? And then this was an application question where a person's opinion was asked, right? Are Indian laws based? Are they mimicking Western laws, right? Now, this is where you go back into history. We've recently changed the way our laws are labeled. We've gone away from the Western names. Now we've got Indian names for it. This is your homework. You've got to find out what did the government change in the last couple of years. But a lot of our legal codes are still those which have been written by the Britishers in the 1800s. We've got a lot of legal statutes, 1800s, early 1900s. Those have been carried forward. So then that becomes an obvious thinking point for you. Do we as Indians in 2025 or 2026, in this current 2020s, do we need to refresh all these laws, go through all these archaic laws and not have any references to our colonial past? Right? That becomes another thinking point for you guys. If you're aiming for the top institutions in the country, you should be ready for such questions. These are deep, insightful, thoughtful questions that you should be ready for, right? You should be ready to give your opinion. For example, in this case, if you can provide that localization is important, modernization of laws is important, and you can just give them this little tidbit that we have our ancient colonial history, that is where we came from, the laws are based on it, gradual upgradation is happening. If you can provide this much context to the interview panelist, your job is done. They know you are a well-read, well-informed person who can articulate his thoughts well, right? So then the why MBA question, he connects his experiences, why you are a good fit for an MBA, and then he goes to the local problems. Now, with our local cities, generally what we do is we try to memorize which are the 3 most famous things in our city. Which is the most famous dish of our city, blah, 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 right? We do all these kinds of trivial questions. Don't expect these in a top IIM interview. Here he was asked for biggest problem facing your city currently. So now you are expected to provide a problem and be ready with its solution. Think one step ahead. If you are being asked a problem, you should be ready with the solution as well, right? You chose a syllabus, relevant civic issue, traffic pollution, infrastructure. Then you talk about it. What do you think of metro rail expansion across India? Metro, why is it required going forward in the future? Think about it. With such congestion in urban city centers like Bangalore and such long traffic jams, we need alternate modes of transportation in our cities. Otherwise, people are going to, you see this sight of a single person driving to office in his car on a daily basis. We need to avoid that. So that requires public transportation. And public transportation in the year 2025 cannot just be buses, right? Metro has to come in, technology has to come in. We need to facilitate that, and people need to be informed and educated that you need to make the switch, right? So that's what this is about. Then as you were leaving, what other calls do you have? What are the interviews scheduled? You have to be very, very transparent here. You're going to the top institution, you have to tell them, and you have to be ready for this question that, for example, if you've gone to IIM Ahmedabad and you have an IIM Bangalore call, you have to be ready for that comparison. They are going to put you in the spot, and you should be clear with three or four crystal clear points why Ahmedabad over Bangalore. Just provide those, have that clarity. Don't beat around the bush, then develop that clarity, give those direct, concise, to the point answers, and they will realize they are just asking you. Remember, they are not asking you to make a choice. They're asking you a question so that you feel the stress. So if you can resolve that stress, then you've resolved that particular interview, you've cracked that interview. So this is what this particular interview experience was about, right? More such interview experiences on gdpivat.com and more such analysis video by me, Prashant, on gdpivat.com. You can go through these videos, understand how do you prepare for your personal interviews.